The U.S. delegation is now in Egypt for indirect peace talks between Israel and Hamas. Special envoy to the Middle East, Steve Witkoff, and President Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, are joining for what's expected to be a key day in those ceasefire talks. Meanwhile, Israeli forces are intercepting the Freedom Flotilla coalition attempting to deliver aid into Gaza. The Israeli foreign minister says this is, quote, another futile attempt to breach the legal naval blockade and enter a combat zone. ABC News foreign correspondent Maggie Rulli is following that story from our London bureau. Hi, Maggie. So what's the latest on these talks?
Hey, Diane. Well, the last few days, we've seen these indirect talks really setting the stage for what's happening right now, where the top diplomats and negotiators are all arriving in Egypt, signaling that things may be progressing. Now, on the U.S. side, you mentioned them, U.S. Special Envoy to the Middle East, Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner, they're there right now. Also, the Qatari Prime Minister, as well as Israel's lead negotiator and one of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's closest advisors. And Diane, perhaps most telling was a speech today from Egyptian President where he sounded confident, even inviting President Trump to attend the signing of a potential Gaza ceasefire deal once it is reached. Again, it's all still a long way to go, but Diane, these signs are promising.
Maggie, France is planning a meeting of foreign ministers to discuss key issues for the day after in Gaza. What are you watching for in those talks?
You know, Dan, this is the next big question. If a deal is signed, what's next? And France has invited foreign ministers from Western, Arab, and other majority Muslim countries to discuss exactly this. Now, France says this meeting is happening to show support for those ongoing U.S.-led peace talks and that it is happening in conjunction with the U.S. and Israel. And the main issues on the table are many topics that are included in Trump's 20-point plan, including the idea of an international stabilization force for Gaza, the transitional governance of Gaza, humanitarian aid and reconstruction, the disarmament of Hamas, and support for the Palestinian Authority and Palestinian security forces. Diane.
And Maggie, meanwhile, what's happening inside Gaza? What's the latest on the fighting?
Now, Diane, as these talks are ongoing in Egypt, intense and deadly Israeli airstrikes continue throughout Gaza, including in Gaza City. This is happening despite the fact that on Friday, after Hamas responded to the proposed plan, President Trump told Israel to, quote, immediately stop the bombing. Now, the Israeli military has said they have been directed to prepare for the first part of Trump's plan and that operations in Gaza would be reduced to the minimum, with troops only meant to carry out defensive strikes. And Prime Minister Netanyahu has said that Israel is committed to ending the war. Diane.
All right, Maggie Rulli, thank you.